And just like that, we're back, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. Now, we finally have an update on my crashed Ferrari 812 off in Pennsylvania. It's got that structural damage. We're trying to find these very specific structural components that are very, very expensive. And I've been searching high and low. I've been searching across the world, trying to find a crashed Ferrari that has like enough damage to part it out, but not too much damage that the front end is still intact, which is like finding a needle in a haystack. It's literally impossible. But I think we might have done it. We might have found the car. I'm gonna put a photo of it here in the UK. They want 15,000 pounds for the structural front end. Now you're looking at this car and you're like, that's the same damage as your car. There's no way whatsoever. Well, the shop in the UK, they stripped it down to the bare frame, photo of it here, and now you're looking at it and you're like, that might be it. Now I'm going through all these photos and I'm looking at it like, this is it. Obviously there is some damage here on the front end substructure, but that doesn't matter to me because the part that I need, this part right here, it's the passenger strut tower, and I'm looking super close. I'm like, that looks flawless, that looks flawless. This might be it. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see that. After a little bit of investigation, I came across this photo here. You can see a little bit more of the damage. I continue to scroll, and this photo, RIP. You can see the hairline fracture right there. Unfortunately, the strut tower on this 812 is null and void. And I already know what a lot of you guys are gonna say. Not all you guys, just some of you guys. A lot of you guys are gonna say, buy the front end in the UK, bring it back to America, have an aluminum guy repair it, and call it a day. The problem is that hairline fracture is always going to compromise the structural integrity. And the one thing I've realized, there are so many salvage cars out there in the world that cut corners to save a couple bucks, but it's not being done the right way. And I don't want to be that guy. I want to repair this car the right way, even if it takes longer, and even if it costs more money, is what it is. So effectively, in summary, I really have no news whatsoever on the 812, except that I keep hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. I'm not gonna give up, but the hunt's still on. Now that's the bad news in today's video. This is the good news from Greg's Race Parts for the Lotus Emira. We got a very special surprise. Most of you guys already know, because I say this every single time this happens, my favorite mod of any mod is an exhaust. And this is going to completely transform the Lotus Emira, the full titanium setup. Oh my, oh my. That thing is so light, what? You guys all know how much I love the titanium tips on all my cars, and this is no different. Oh my goodness, look at that, that is absolutely beautiful. This is gonna be such a game changer. You have the factory exhaust tips, and then you have these. You got the carbon fiber on one side, and look at that titanium, that is beautiful. I'm gonna try my best to fit this in the backside of the Lotus. It is a tight squeeze, but it looks as though, it's almost as if those British engineers designed the boot of the Lotus for a GRP exhaust. That's amazing, actually. And of course, I'm not gonna unwrap everything quite yet because I gotta transport this off for installation. I don't wanna scratch anything up. And of course, shout out to GRP, Greg's Race Parts. If you have a Lotus Elise, an Exige, an Evora, an Emira, they have literally everything imaginable for a British mate. This is a cold startup stock exhaust. And once the car is fired up, you go to the drive mode. We're gonna pop it into sport mode. Listen very closely. You can hear the exhaust valves open up. I'm not gonna say it sounds amazing. It sounds better than touring mode, but it's still not, it's not acceptable. Because the TRX is off in Pennsylvania with the Ferrari 812 and the trailer, I've been driving the Lotus Emira almost every single day. This is such a fantastic car. I wanna get some before exhaust clips for you. Supercharger sounds very nice in this thing. This car rips so much. A little short shift right there just because the speed limit, well, you know, it's just, yeah, I said too much. I'm gonna try to get a couple baby revs. It's not an Aventador. That's not bad though. There's just something about getting that perfect downshift that is so rewarding. Manual transmission's the ability, it's a dying breed. And I'm not saying I'm a special driver. I short shifted, I downshifted, I just upshifted. But regardless, like, I'm smiling, I'm having a good time. And as a car guy, that's the most important thing that matters. Now I'm gonna keep quiet so you can hear the exhaust. You still have to look at my face, so I apologize for that, but not bad, but not great. Unacceptable. From a stock standpoint, it's not terrible. The supercharger one is very, very nice. Exhaust noise, you don't really hear anything at all. The color palette going on today, yet again, every single day, is just off the charts. And the number of Lamborghini Uruses that come through the state of Utah is amazing. We also have the new 1,000 horsepower Lotus SUV. Now, I don't know too much about the new Lotus Electra, but inside sources tell me this against my Koenigsegg in a drag race, this would take it quite easily. We also have the 2RS from Performance Underground. This thing looks so good, sounds pretty good. Now, of course, this is not gonna be done today. That's actually, honestly, that is not that bad outside of the car. We're dropping it off here at Performance Underground to do the full exhaust as well. This thing though, from every single angle is amazing. This is okay, wow. It's got a little bit of a higher pitch there at the upper rev range, but it still sounds a little bit between like a dying cat and a Dyson. I always have to remind myself, this is the V6 out of a Toyota Camry. Like, just think about that for a split second. I don't know how that is even possible. I don't know also why they didn't put this engine in the Toyota Supra, but I'm not here to criticize whatsoever. So we're gonna pull out the exhaust right now, unwrap this baby. This exhaust from GRP is absolutely sick. We're talking 13 pounds. The factory exhaust is 30 pounds. That's a 17-pound weight saving. Full valved exhaust as well. Like the pie cuts on this titanium, we should get some good coloration very, very soon. That thing is so wicked. So these exhaust tips are actually pretty cool. They're carbon and the blue titanium, but what's gonna be exposed is actually the carbon fiber, and then when you look inside, you see the titanium, so it's like a buy one, get one free. It's like two for one. Yeah, that's the kind of my deal right there. And the girth. Oh my goodness, look at that girth. Well, we're getting an Uber home in style in the Bentley Bentayga. I'm not sure I'm really worthy of a Bentley, but you know what? At the same time, air-conditioned seats for my sweaty back. Yes, sir. Well, once again, massive shout out to Lotus Salt Lake and Performance Underground. We're gonna see the Lotus in a couple days. Well, that is how you get delivered home in style, the Bentley Bentayga. Now, what we're gonna do, I need to mow the lawn, but it's a little too hot right now. Wow. I don't know if you guys can hear anything I just said. So this Huracan Technica is owned by a buddy of mine. I'm storing for him. His garage is being redone right now. This is a stock exhaust Huracan Technica, which is just mind-blowingly how loud that thing is. So all I'm doing is just moving it to this garage so we can get the Koenigsegg out. And the interior on this thing is crazy. All the Alcantara with the red, and of course, you have the optional cup holder, as you do. Usually the color red is reserved for Ferraris, but man, a satin red Lamborghini is absolutely killer. I love this design cue on the Huracan Technica. And the design of the rear deck lid with the matte carbon fiber, all the venting, the glass as well, that is such a cool car. Now I had the red STS, the Super Trofeo Stradale, the Gallardo that I sold last summer, that was also red with all the carbon fiber. That car was so cool, it looks so good in the garage. We definitely need to add a red Lamborghini someday. I don't know what, but satin red? I love it. I'm guessing a lot of you guys probably don't know what this is. It is the kill switch for the Koenigsegg. So when this thing has been removed, the car has no power. I actually got to reach inside the window to open up the door manually. And now, using the kill switch, we can sneak on inside the car. This is such a tight squeeze. And then right back here in the dead center, if I push that, you can hear the honk. And now we got full power. And then here in the center console is this special tool. You actually use this to remove the roof off the car. It's kind of like an Allen wrench, but it's more like a triangle bit. I don't know if there's some special name for that. Regardless, lefty loosey, righty tighty. However, this one bolt right here is actually the opposite. It's righty loosey, lefty tighty. That makes sense, yeah? Pretty standard protocol. We're gonna loosen it, so we're gonna go here to the left. But then here on this side, we wanna loosen it, we're actually gonna go to the right. When I turn the ignition on, you can see, it can sense that these two bolts are actually loosened, and it'll tell you that the roof is unlocked. So that's how you know when it's locked and when it's not. You rely on this. So nice to have, because the last thing you'd wanna have happen is this bolt be loose, you don't know it, and the roof goes flying off. Because to replace this roof, how you go about that, I hope I never find out. This is one of the scariest things you have to do, removing the roof off the Koenigsegg single-handedly. It's a little bit awkward, it's not heavy, it's carbon fiber, it's just proportionately, it's a big piece. Oh my gosh. Awkward position, momentum is everything. I did not want to drop this. It's not that it's heavy, it's just very, very expensive. Now, sometimes in my old age, I forget what I've told you guys on camera versus what I want to say on camera. So if I've already said this, I apologize. We got the matte carbon, we got the matte paint. This is PPF, okay? So this is what the carbon fiber actually looks like underneath the PPF. I'm gonna unwrap this eventually, but when I do that, obviously I want to do gloss PPF, that's expensive. So right now, the satin PPF does the job. So you can see all this gloss carbon fiber here, but what's interesting is the center console is also matte carbon fiber, but this is actual matte carbon fiber. So that's not PPF, whereas what I showed you, that is PPF. Cold start of Koenigsegg. Yep. Yes, yes, yes. Driving this car with the roof down is a different kind of cool. The way the windshield wraps around you is just the most surreal experience. This thing, I gotta drive it more, but it's kind of scary to drive. And what I mean by that, if somebody hits me, What happened? When I owned the Veyron, I drove it all the time. I didn't think anything of it, but every single time I'm in this car, I'm constantly looking in that rear view mirror. I'm praying somebody doesn't rear end me. I'm thinking about uninsured drivers on the road, and so consequently, I know this is the worst excuse you've ever heard, and I think it's gonna take time as I own it longer and longer. That fear is gonna go away, but that's why I don't drive it that much. I can already see the comments from you guys mocking me. Why would I own a car? Why would I spend that much money on a car that I'm too scared to drive? And I don't have a great answer for you, but it's the dream car. It's the Koenigsegg. Like, it is what it is, and like I said, in time, hopefully that fear kind of goes away. Maybe it won't, I don't know. Now, of course, that all being said, come the middle of August when I go to Monterey Car Week, I am gonna be taking the Koenigsegg. So I'm gonna take this car, I'm gonna drive it for an entire week straight, and I think a lot of that will, I don't know, relieve some of the fear, perhaps. And I'm not scared of the car because of the horsepower. I'm scared of the car because if something happens, I don't know how to get it fixed. I mean, I do know how to get it fixed, but I'm scared of what it takes to get it fixed. I also want to apologize because it is so hot here in Utah, and I look and feel absolutely disgusting, but I feel like I did not do a very good job of explaining what I was trying to explain. I'm not afraid of the Koenigsegg. I'm not afraid of the horsepower. I'm not afraid of losing control. I'm not afraid of my own driving abilities. I'm afraid of that random person who's uninsured, who rear ends me, who crashes into me, and then I gotta reap the consequences of that action. So that means every single time I take the car out, I always think to myself, is this a worthwhile time to take the car out? And if it's not, then I find myself taking one of the other cars. It's not a dig on the Koenigsegg, it's a dig on the drivers here in the state of Utah. If you live in Utah and you drive in Utah, don't be offended. It's not you, it's the guy next to you. Now the Koenigsegg is due for some minor modifications. If Christian von Koenigsegg or any of the executives at Koenigsegg are watching today's video, do not be concerned, okay? The modifications that are gonna be made are very, very simple, and in a lot of ways, they're actually D-modifications, I guess. Maybe. This is gonna be a hard thing to film, but when you see me remove it, I think you'll put 2 and 2 together. Somehow this windshield has window tint on it, and we got a lot of residue right there, unexpected sequence in the vlog, and this is not, let's go, smooth as butter, baby, easy, get that out of here. I've been driving this car for the last couple months, and I had no idea this was on the front windshield, and then I noticed a lot of my footage looked kind of sort of blue, and now I see the window tint, and I feel like it has a blue hue to it. Am I missing something? Is that blue? It looks blue. I think it's blue. Weird. I don't know how well you guys can see this. There is a ton of residue still left on the windshield. I'm very disappointed with how that went. I probably should have heated it up a little bit. You can see all, can you see that? I don't know if you guys can see that. There's all this residue like right here on the windshield. I gotta remove that. Well, we're gonna save the residue for another day because here in the passenger footwell, if you look real close, you can actually see this subwoofer right here. This is aftermarket. The goal is to remove this because unfortunately with it in place, the legroom for the passenger is basically non-existent. Now how this thing comes out, I have not the slightest of clues. I imagined I would actually work on a Koenigsegg. I also never imagined that I would own a Koenigsegg either, but one subwoofer has been removed. It's actually crazy what a difference that just made. Like, you have so much more legroom now in the passenger footwell, and before anybody gets mad at me for removing a subwoofer, like, the sound system in this car is a twin turbocharged V8 that produces over 1,000 horsepower. I have never, not one single time, actually listened to music in this car, so I don't feel the need for a subwoofer, so yeah, she gone. And with the subwoofer being gone, this little pouch that says Koenigsegg, I can now put the other license plate and registration right there. Window tint has been removed, subwoofer is also gone. We're now headed off to Home Depot. And yes, if you look closely, the residue is still on the windshield. I'm gonna remove it momentarily. And as I was saying earlier, I only drive the Koenigsegg when the trips are 100% necessary. Welcome to Home Depot. We gotta get some razor blades and tape. And every time you open up the door, you gotta be so extra cautious. Are we good? We are. I can't tell, never mind. We don't want to. I'm not gonna say it was a complete overreaction. We are about as close can get. It's one of the problems with the Koenigsegg, but it's worth it. And I'm gonna call that the great success. Razor blades and 3M tape. Not gonna open up all the way. Easy. And as I was just saying, all the important stops, yes, that means Chick-fil-A. Well, we definitely are not going in that lane right there. That is hard water galore, all the sprinklers going off. We're definitely staying here to the left. Well, we got called a blue sedan at Chick-fil-A, but it's okay because shout out to Christian von Koenigsegg. Look at that. The Chick-fil-A cup fits to perfection. I guess one thing I'll say about driving this car infrequently, it feels more special when you do drive it. If you drive it every single day, it just becomes another car, but if it's a special occasion, then it feels special. I desperately need to mow my lawn. Heat is no longer an excuse. I just really don't want to do it. Well, I got the 3M tape for a very specific reason. I want to tape on these HH badges. They go on kind of sort of like so, and then the Koenigsegg badge goes here on the back end, like yay. The sun is officially down. It's been down for quite a while, proving that this took way longer than I would like to admit. We finally have the 3M tape here on the back side of the logo. We're at 5 inches and an eighth, so dead center is going to be 2. It's right basically the edge of the G. And we want to make sure this thing is nice and clean because we only get one shot at this. I don't want anybody telling me that this thing is not dead center, okay? I don't want to hear it. The nice thing is, when I redo the PPF with gloss PPF, Clayton will reinstall this, and Clayton is much better than me at basically everything in life, so even if it's not centered, it will be someday, so it don't matter. I was planning on doing these HH badges in today's video as well, but it is so incredibly late, I gotta edit this video too, so the next time you see the Koenigsegg, these will be on, just not today. I did a quick Google image search, and you see the HH, it kind of comes right off the tail of the A, sort of like right there. Obviously, I got one shot at this, but it could be HH like that, or it could be HH like this. But per the image search, it's like this. How's that look, boys? Yes, sir. The only thing that really matters is that both sides match. Other than that, we're good. They're never gonna match though because they're inverted, so also doesn't really matter. Well, I think that is pretty much gonna wrap up today's video. Now, to follow up on the last video, I'm selling those 4 cars. The black LM, I have a very serious offer on the table. If that materializes, I can sell that, keep the white LM. The Espada, I also have another serious offer on that. And then the Countach, I'm kind of trying to kick that to the curb a little bit. If I can sell the black LM, I can sell the Espada, I can film a ton of videos. Maybe I can keep the Countach. I'll keep you guys posted. A12, no news. Lotus exhaust coming soon. And on that bombshell, today's video is over.